They're a competition.
No shit. Yeah. Wow.
Like
So
personalities in the space. Yeah.
So in April. Oh.
Were you like, hey, I don't really smoke weed anymore. I don't really do that. I was just like,
I just sent a laughing face.
yeah, ha ha. Yeah.
Just let them wonder.
How are they late? They are late. Start the show, Hiller. Yeah, Hiller could have done that. Yeah, because you're not doing your part, Hiller. My power went out here. And yeah, did you nap after our show today, Brian?
No time.
Did you nap after our show today, JR?
Yes.
Did you really nap today?
No, absolutely not. I wish
Caleb,
I could take a nap.
Caleb, did you nap?
Yeah.
I woke up just now. The power's back on. My wife's gone. I'm like, what happened? She's like, dude, you were out. Excuse me. The quarterfinals are here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I listened to this podcast with Adrian and Chase. And if you go, not you, Sporty Beth. If you go to the 41-minute mark,
5 or 6 minutes left, and boom, switch this. In my opinion, but an easy way to think about it is basically the regions that have more athletes.
Adrian Bosman says an easy way to understand the worldwide rankings.
In that worldwide top 100 would be more likely to get more spots awarded for their qualifying games position.
That more people that get into that worldwide rankings top 100 in your region, the more people you will have go to the CrossFit Games. So let me say that one more time. The more people in the worldwide ranking top 100 in your region, the more people that you will have eligible for qualifying to the games out of your region. And I just want to emphasize that the way you get the vast majority of points to be in that top 100 is people you've already had who've attended the CrossFit Games. Meaning that without stating that, what Adrian just said, it is completely out of context because there are regions that haven't represented in the past at the CrossFit Games, and you will not be represented at the CrossFit Games because to get enough points to go to the CrossFit Games, you had to have already been at the CrossFit Games. And one of those regions is Africa. I just want to be super duper fucking clear about that. It's weird to it's weird to mention things out of context. We have the
Don't look at the burning house. Just look at the hedges.
Yeah, okay, fine. I know. I told myself to be cool, Sevi, be cool. And I am excited. And when I heard him talking about the layout for the quarterfinals this year, I am really excited. I think it's cool that they gave the layouts first. Have they ever done that before?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I guess this is the closest I've ever been, or I don't remember, but I think it's really cool. Do you guys like this? They put out the layouts and they let us kind of pontificate on what the future could hold.
Yeah, I mean, as fun as it is just to guess what we think the open workouts would be, I think it would be even more fun if we got floor plans. Some would say maybe the open would be more fun without floor plans at all.
Oh, is that what Brian says?
No,
Adrian addressed that on the podcast this morning as well, to some degree.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think getting the floor plans a few days before, I mean, there's possibilities are endless, but you see some things like you see a rower and you know you're probably not going to be using it for lateral burpees.
You could be doing it for you could be using it for sumo deadlift hypo. Hey, this is a very interesting Barry McCockner $1.99 donation for JR's lipstick. You know what I was thinking, Barry, is when they made that Crash Crucible shirt, they put a picture of JR on there, and you know in Photoshop how you grab the pen to match a color? Well, they fucking match that writing to the color of the affiliate owner's lips. And now you know. McCockner cracked the code for the color.
What a great joke that was.
Thank you. Thank you. JR loves this. Look at JR flexes a little bit. Stop looking at my lips. Stop looking at my lips. Oh, yeah, floor plans. Corbano, floor plans equal anxiety. Let's fucking go. So I can't read you, JR. Do you like the floor plans?
Yeah, I love that they give them to us.
Okay, good.
Makes it a lot easier for me to start taping the floor a few days before all the athletes that walk in and expect the floors to be taped and cameras to be set up and clocks to be ready to go.
What about the athlete side of you? That's the kind of the affiliate owner side of you. What about the athlete inside of you?
Oh yeah, I think if you're an intelligent athlete, or hopefully you have intelligent coaches, you're able to at least maybe put some final touches on what you think possibly movement combinations could be that are coming out. And it just gives you a little bit more peace of mind, a little bit more confidence going in.
Mr. Friend?
I like JR's idea of what would it look like to just drop the floor plan for each open workout on the Monday before that week of the open. I think that might be a cool thing to try.
So and then on Thursday show the workout.
Yeah, same pattern that they had for quarterfinals. Just do it week by week for the open. I think that would be a fun way to. I mean, if you just drop a dumbbell on a jump rope on Monday before 23.1, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, dumbbell and jump rope, I could probably do that."
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Next year, I think we're going to see it next year. It makes sense. Would there be any reason why they wouldn't do it?
No, not yet, because they never do the ideas that we talk about 1 year after. It's always 2 or 3 years after.
Okay. 2 or 3 years. There is something else he says interesting in the podcast that I want to make sure I point out. The pundits have been taking some shots at CrossFit in regards to the fact that they're bragging that they have 110,000 new people sign up for the open, but only like 20 or 30,000 more than last year. So that they've lost 80,000 people. But what Adrian also did say in that podcast was that they had the biggest re-sign up.
He calls them repeats. I think what he means is that the new people from last year that did it again this year. Like there was the biggest return on first timers doing it a second time this year or a bigger one than there usually is. I think that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, I think so too. Returning registrants.
First time registrants or just registrants?
Second. I inferred from what he said that he meant second time, meaning 2022 was their first, and the percentage of 2022 rookies that re-signed up in 2023 was higher than the normal rate.
Retained participants.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so really, I can't do anything with that. Okay, all right, fine. Never mind. Forget that. I take back my compliment. Okay.
No, you could say that's a good thing.
It is, but it's not as good as I thought it was.
Okay.
Okay. Should we just dig right in? Start just looking at the floor plans, or actually, before we do that, give me an idea of what's going on. Give me the layout here of what happens. And who's going? It's the top 10%.
Yeah, so it's the top 10% after the open. But looking back on the open briefly, I think Brian had mentioned his open elite status, and I think a lot of people responded with some questions about what's the criteria to be an open elite. And I think he made a couple posts recently on his Instagram about it. If you want to pull
you want to start there? Okay, let's do that. I couldn't understand the post. It was over my head. It was like Twitter talk to me. I was like, oh shit, I need this explained in way more words. Okay.
Hence the picture of you I just sent to the group of us.
Okay. We are at Brian Friend CrossFit Instagram. There's a beautiful black and white graphic of the beautiful Jeffrey Adler and the even more beautiful Brooke Wells. It says the Open 2021 to 2023 Elite. And then Brian writes, the Open Elite. What if I told you that over the last 3 seasons of open tests, there are only one man and one woman who meet the minimum requirements to be considered the Open Elite? So now we're all wondering what is the Open Elite? We need that defined. Thank you to Vans Schindelgardens for the awesome graphic to help depict this 3-year study. Take your time scrolling through. Oh, geez, doesn't he sound like an old person at like at an aquarium or something, or a museum?
Yeah, I should have put on my Paul Macbeth polo and tucked it in for that part.
This is at your local American History Museum. Take your time scrolling through if this is a topic of interest. I appreciate how impressive it is to make this list even 1 year. That there are very few who find a way to qualify twice in a row, and that only these 2 have managed to managed to meet the threshold for every single open test. Oh, you have the same spell checker proofreader that the CrossFit Games uses. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. And Brooke Wells commented on your post.
She did.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I started doing a while ago. I think probably, if you scroll to the right, you'll see this, like the thresholds that I came up with for 2021. And you see in bold there, the number of athletes that met the requirement. So 134 is the low end for the women in 21.2. That means you had to be 134th or better in the world to qualify for that workout. And then 242 on that same workout is the upper threshold for the men. And this is just me basically picking those numbers based on the results from those workouts. And so I'm looking for
I need more help than that. Like what? How did you get this?
It is, basically what I'm telling you is it's somewhat arbitrary, but I'm looking for like a benchmark or a threshold of time, reps, or weight that is, what I consider to be elite. Like there's and it has to be, you have to cut it off somewhere. I usually just cut it off at whole numbers. So in some cases, people miss this qualification by a couple pounds or a couple seconds or a couple reps in one workout. But I don't look at any athletes before I do that. I just look at the leaderboards and I say, there's 11, whatever it says, at 9 minutes, and that's 173, and that's right in the threshold. It's a nice round number. So that's what we're going to set the mark at for 21.3.
Okay, give me a second here. So this is from 2 years ago. This is 2021. If we went to the leaderboard right now, we would look at the time 13:30, and
we'll
all
scroll
the time
to the right one page, one slide. If you scroll to the right, you'll see that for 2021, there was a group of athletes that met all 4 thresholds, those 10 men and those 14 women. And those are, on the left is their corresponding open rank. So those are the only ones that made met the threshold for all of the marks in 2021. And in 2021, we had the barbell complex. So that strength test eliminated a lot of people.
Okay, go back a slide again. Just to be clear. So all those names we just saw, those 38 names, men and women's names, they all had 21.1, they were under 13 minutes and 30 seconds. 21.2, they were under 10 minutes and 30 seconds. 21.3, they were under 9 minutes. And same with
21.4, he made an error here, and he addressed it in the comments, but it should be the lift. And it was 300 pounds and 200 pounds were the benchmarks for men and women, respectively.
Okay. And wow. Okay. And how did you do? So Brian, if I went to 21.1 on the leaderboard and I went to 13:30, there'd be 164 names above.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Wow. So many more women.
It's always going to be more, there are always going to be more women that meet the threshold, or at least for now are going to be more women that meet these thresholds than men, because of the thing that I regularly remind you of, which is just that there's a greater depth of field. So it's harder to be elite amongst the men's division than the women's division.
God, I feel like I need to know how you came up with these times.
It's not that important.
Okay.
But anyway, if you scroll through,
if you want Brian Friend to think you're elite.
I mean, look, like I said, I'm not considering any athlete's performance in making these. I'm just looking and seeing what did the best in the world do. And about 150 were able to do this, or this.
I see. Okay. And would I see those patterns right away if I went to the board? Or I'd be like, okay, he chose everyone.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing here is these look like smaller numbers in terms of you had to be better to do them in 2022. But if you scroll to the right, they're actually similar to even actually substantially more people who met those thresholds or marks. And it's interesting. It was really interesting to me doing that because a lot of people thought that the 2022 Open was like catered to the non-elites. Like there was just very basic things that you had to do. But it turns out that the best in the world were also the best in the world at that. And there were quite a few who qualified that year, but not that many that qualified 2 years in a row.
What's the turquoise?
I
just see.
I think the turquoise are the ones who made it who qualified twice.
Okay, so
but I think that I'm not sure you got the colors perfectly here. At the bottom there, it tells you who the ones were that qualified between 2021 and 2022 in the black.
And I see Phil Toons on there. You didn't boot him. It's very nice of you.
Well, he didn't fail any drug tests during the Open.
And who is 29 on the women's side? This is Valentina Magliotti.
Magliotti, she competed in Dubai this year. She's CrossFitter from Italy.
Is she good?
If you get on this list one time, you're pretty good.
Number 15, Addison Desrosiers.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
She competes on a team frequently.
Number 4, Lori Clement. Do I know
Yeah,
her?
we've talked about her before. A master's age athlete, excels at body weight open style workouts.
All right. Number 15 on the men, Nicholas Anna Polsky.
Yeah, competed on a team that year as well.
And then the rest of these guys are almost all individual, right? Number 6, Victor
Yeah, we talked about him a lot last year when he's doing well during the Open. So yeah, very high level. And if you keep scrolling to the right, you'll see the 2023 qualifiers. There's less than 2022. Again, the lift eliminates a lot. Those are the thresholds, and was pretty generous with the lifting on this one, but it still eliminated a lot of people. Emma Carey, for example. And then there were very few people who qualified at all this year, and then of those people, there were obviously less that qualified 2 years in a row, and only one that qualified 3 years in a row.
Let me see the list for 2023. Scroll over one more. And why so few this year? Which one did you which number did you pick that screwed so many people?
I mean, even fourth place worldwide, Tyler Christoffel didn't make the list. It was very difficult on the men's side, especially. Almost everyone was eliminated, not even because of the lift, but because of either 23.1 or 23.2A.
Interesting. Okay, and the only two that were all 3 years are Brooke Wells and Jeffrey Adler.
Yeah, and I put all of their stats at the end of this slide because I just, I think it's pretty cool to perform this well consistently amongst the worldwide population on basically a random collection of tests.
Blink 3 times if you're okay. JR and Caleb. JR's like a cobra. When he strikes, he's deadly. Oh, I thought you were gonna say he's like a cobra. He doesn't have eyelids.
No, I was thinking about how impressive it was that Brooke was the only one that's on this list, and she was doing it while coming back from a major injury.
Mm-hmm. That is incredible. And just in case anyone was wondering, Mal O'Brien barely missed on one of the tests from maybe by 20 seconds or something in 2021. And Tia, if not pregnant, also likely would have qualified for this. But, circumstances are what they are, and neither one of them did.
I didn't see Medeiros on any of these lists.
Generally doesn't perform very well in the Open relative to major live competitions.
Was Vellner on any of these lists?
No.
And how do you choose whether you're going to go with Jeffrey or Jeff?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Cool. Is this going to be something we're going to be seeing on have you done this before?
I did write an article about it a couple of years ago. I had done one, I think, for 19, 20, and 21. And there were a few more athletes that made it across all 3 years. Maybe, there was only one male at that time. I think there were 3 women.
I'm gonna do my own elite.
18, 19, and 20 would be cool because it was the last 3 years. There were 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You think there would be upheaval?
But Rich made it almost every year. He just didn't make it this year because of the lift.
All right. Okay. Anything else before we talk about what's happened? What's happened in the season? Where we're going, kind of where we're at.
I think we're good.
All right. So everyone knows the CrossFit Open the CrossFit Games goes from the Open to the quarterfinals to the semifinals to the games. Last year there was a stop between semifinals and the games that was called the last chance qualifier. I believe that is gone. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so right now we just finished the Open. One of the cool things about CrossFit, it is super duper low barrier of entry. Everyone in the world could enter. It's a massive net. It's not like the Olympics. There's no politics involved. That hurt to say that. And anyone can enter. You pay your $20 and you do it. And so we got all the scores, we got all the rankings, and we know that out of those 300,000, and obviously there's different categories. We're just talking about individual right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Individual
Correct.
men, individual women.
Yep.
That everyone is able to enter. And so we take the top 10%. How many people were there? How many women and how many men were there in the individual? Do we know a total, or do we know quarterfinals? Do we know either of those numbers? I guess we could figure out. Do we know how many people?
Like how many invites were sent out, or how many people?
Yeah, how many
'Cause
men in the world qualified for the quarterfinals?
Oh, I don't know if the world. I'm sure Helpin has the worldwide. I just have it by region here in front of me.
Okay.
But it's
Do you have a rough number for the men and rough number for the women? Is it like 20,000 in each?
yeah, it's like 18 to 19,000. It's probably 19,000 for the men, substantially less for the women.
Okay. So basically,
maybe like 19 and 15,000.
okay. So if you're in that top 10% of the open, so that would be that 190,000 men entered and 150,000 women. They take the top 10%. And now where are we? What happens? Did these people get an email saying you have now qualified for the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I think emails were sent out at some point today. And
Today? Is that what you said?
I think they were sent out. Yeah, I think they were sent out yesterday when the floor plans came out.
Did you get one, JR?
Yeah, I still thought it was Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. And everyone gets the same one? All the men, all the women, doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are. If you made it into that, you got an email.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're going to be competing team, like Adrian said on there. They're not going to sift through and just not send to people that they know are already going to be on team. If they want to sign up and do the test, they're going to be factored in, from all angles. And then also too, like masters and teens. So if you were good enough to qualify on the individual side for quarterfinals, they don't take into account your age either.
Okay.
At least for the masters, Brian. I don't know if that's true for teens, if they're even allowed to do that or not.
16, 17, yes.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Top 10% of athletes, 25% for the teams. Let me see if they got the numbers here. Thank you, Justin. I'm scrolling down now. It looks like the quarterfinals is going to be 3 days long, 5 workouts. 1 or 2 workouts are due every 24 hours. Teams and age group have 2 days and 4 workouts.
And those will not be this week. Those will be in the subsequent weeks coming up.
Yeah, teams and age groupers have 4 tests instead of 5.
Oh, it's interesting. They have the individual broken down here.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at to do the quick math. I didn't see the total number, but just did a little mental math.
It's time I get a haircut. Did Tia qualify?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I wonder if she does it.
Seems like she's probably going to.
Fergie says Tia is a saint. Okay. So this happened. They gave an equipment list a few months ago, so we know all the equipment that's going to be used up
It
until
could potentially be used.
And equipment could be used twice, right? Just because we saw in the open doesn't mean we cross it off the list.
Yeah, and we speculated that might be the case because there were some elements that were included in the open that were not the volume was very low, like a double unders, for example.
And then now the floor plans were released, and the actual workouts will start to begin to be released on this Thursday, March 16th.
Well, I think at this point we're expecting all of them to be released on Thursday.
Yeah, they'll all be released on Thursday at 12 Pacific. And the first window, 24-hour window, will be Thursday to Friday. And at that time, they'll have to have tests 1 and 2 scores submitted. But that doesn't mean that they may have not already done tests 3, 4, and 5. So each 24-hour window, they have 2 scores due, 2 scores due, and then the last 24-hour window, they have 1 score they have to submit. But the order at which they do them is still kind of left up to the athlete.
So on the 16th,
we think that that's the case. There were indications earlier in the year that might not be the case, and that they would release the workouts 2 at a time, 24 hours, 2 more, 24 hours, 1 more, which I thought would have been a positive change. There's still the potential that they will release all the workouts, but they might do something like give a password, and the passwords for the workouts might only be released at specific times. So they might say, here are all 5 workouts. The password for workout 1 is Johnny, and the password for workout 2 is a tree. And you will tell you the passwords for workout 3 and 4 24 hours from now. And if they did something like that, they could still potentially force them to be done in a specific order, which I think some people are in favor of and some people are not in favor of.
But we don't know. So if what JR is saying is correct and they release all the workouts on the 16th, then you're saying that there is a chance that someone could do workout number 5 and 3 and submit those, that basically you just have to at least submit 2 on the 16th.
Yeah, someone. So for example,
But we don't know.
Let's say that I'm going out of town on Friday evening, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to be around this Saturday, Sunday to do any workouts, so I'm just going to do them all from Thursday when I get them until Friday before I leave. I'll submit 1 and 2 when I have to, and the others I've already have them done, and I'll submit them when they're due.
Interesting. And will they be reviewing these in real time? So let's say you do workouts on the 16th and they tell you, hey, in your deadlifts, you weren't standing up all the way. Will you have a chance to redo it?
Yeah, you could have a chance. And that's a point that's usually driven home in the last couple of years, like by Adrian and others, that, hey, the sooner you get your scores in, the leaderboard is blind. So the sooner you get your scores in and you upload videos, if there are any issues or you have any questions, there's still time. But if you wait until the deadline is approaching, there's not a whole lot they can do as far as saying, oh yeah, actually we couldn't see you completely in the frame, or all of your GHD wasn't in the frame, and this is going to be an invalid video.
Would you, I'm guessing then the recommendation is like, hey, if you're going to submit videos, submit them early and submit them to YouTube, so that if people are going to talk shit, if people see you doing fucked up shit, they'll bring attention to it. Don't be afraid.
Well, I know in the past, when you submit a score,
yeah,
there's just a place for you to post, for you to copy a link to the video. Doesn't matter if it's private or public. So you can go ahead and do it when you submit the score, or you can wait for them to ask for a video. But chances are, if you're planning on making it, you should just submit the video when you submit the score.
I guess my thing is you could submit a video and they could not have time to check it, and then they check it after it closes.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any guarantee that they'll look at it ahead of time, and honestly, they're not going to look at a majority of the participants' videos anyway. But if you have a time that's competitive to win, then they might look at it. But again, there's no prize money in the quarterfinals. There's nothing that in the open, the top 5 people plus the winner every week get paid out something. So there's like a reason for them to review those videos. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter if you're the best scorer on all 5 workouts and you're Justin Medeiros. There's still not any real reason for them to review your video. Like, it's like, yeah, whatever. We know he's going to semifinals, whatever.
The only reason would be if they were catching flack from the outside.
Well, here's the thing, and I spoke about this. I know I didn't speak about it here actually, but I've been having.
Oh, Brian. What? He's getting his podcast confused.
Wow, I mean, we were on for 3 hours this morning, so
you're getting your pot with those. I'm sorry, Brian. Your picture's break. Oh, we lost Brian. Oh, there he's back for a second.
Thank you for humbling me, Sevan. I was talking about this with some people earlier, and the fact that for the Open, it's outside of the top 5, the money winners, it's not very relevant for the elite athletes, because making it to quarterfinals is an afterthought. And for those people, honestly, making it to semifinals is an afterthought as well. For the bottom 70, 80% of the Open, the quarterfinals is also irrelevant because they have no chance to make it. But there's a group of people, maybe like, let's say the 20,000 men made it. So, 5,000 on either side of that, like a group of 10,000 men that don't know when they enter the Open if they're good enough to make it or not. And that's the population that CrossFit has to ask a question of themselves. Do we care about these people? Because those are the people that care the most about the Open, because it is the make or break for them of if they get to meet their goal for the year, which is making quarterfinals. I know for a fact that there are people that are registered for quarterfinals that did 0 Open workouts. They didn't even do them. They just put scores in that were competitive enough to make the cut, and no one asked for their videos and no one asked to check them, and they're going to do the quarterfinals.
Wow.
It's embarrassing from a personal perspective that people would do that, but it's also embarrassing from an organizational perspective that people could get away with it.
Let me just say this real quick in their defense. There's no way of stopping that.
There's no way of stopping it. And so it completely delegitimizes the advancing process of the quarterfinals, because I'm trying to make it and I wasn't good enough this year, but I know that there's people that may or may not be better than me that just put in bullshit scores to make it through, and no one's holding them accountable to that.
But there is
The
no way
same
to hold
thing-
them accountable. That's the problem. It's not. That's not CrossFit's fault. I mean,
Well,
it's-
CrossFit
it's-
needs to reevaluate if that's something that they want to be condoning or supporting or encouraging.
Well, they would have to change the whole entry process. There's no
Yeah,
way you could have
things-
enough
that's
people
things
to
that we've
check.
talked about before.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So they've created a system that's unmanageable on their end, is what I'm saying. In the
If you want it to
quarterfinal
be
stage-
legit. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. At the quarterfinal stage, it's not the Justin Medeiros and the Brooke Wells of the world that really matter. We know they're going to be well within the threshold to make it. And again, there's thousands of people that register that have no chance to make it at all. But on the cut line, 30, 60, or 120, or I guess it's only 30 or 60 now, depending on what competitive region you're in, there are a group of 20 to 30 athletes on both sides of that line. And those are the people for whom the quarterfinals is critical. And it is a major, major goal for that group of athletes to qualify for a semifinal, just like it used to be to qualify for a regional. Additionally, because of what you said at the start of the podcast, if you don't make the semifinals, you're capped at 3,000 points that you can earn in a season. As soon as you make the semifinal, your ceiling for points earning potential skyrockets. Now, you might not get very many if you don't do well in the semifinal anyway, but at least you have a chance to. So if I'm an athlete that's participating in quarterfinals, I don't care if you review Pat Vellner's videos. Who cares? There's literally nothing on the line for him. He doesn't win any money. He doesn't get any, recognition for winning any individual workout. Maybe he'll get an Instagram post on CrossFit Games or whatever. But if I'm athlete 50, 51, 52, 60, 61, 62, I'm bound to know for sure that these videos are being reviewed and that guy who's 59 is better than me if I'm 61 and that he did it legit.
You would hit them up.
Those are the videos that need to be being reviewed. If you're in the last 10 qualifiers in your competitive region or the first 10 out, especially the last 10 in, every one of your videos should be being looked at. At least,
Carlos,
at least with an overview and glance.
Carlos Ernesto, I agree with Brian. I could have lied and added 2 reps to my 23.2A and make it to the quarterfinal. I didn't do it. I know people who did, and they're on the quarterfinal. One of my friends is even on steroids, and he's in the quarterfinals. Asshole. Okay. We should do a show on this. It's interesting because if they want it to be a massive movement of a school of fish, it's going to be. I don't see an easy solution. But
yeah, I mean, look,
someone could probably come up with
all
one
that we want, but there are limitations. There are metrics that CrossFit HQ and the games team, the internal team that Adrian always talks about, are looking at that we don't know about. So we could have that conversation and come up with solutions that seem like they're great, but absent the information that they have, we might be coming up with a futile solution anyway.
Right. Okay, so then, so this. Let me just go back to the scheduling real quick. So they released the floor plan on March 16th at noon Pacific time. Sorry, I know you went over this once, Jer, already. At noon, they give all 5 workouts. When are the first 2 workouts due? What time?
Friday at noon.
So the 17th at noon.
Correct.
And then 2 more are due on the 18th at noon, and then 2 more are due on the 19th at noon.
1 will be due on the last window, the 5th workout.
Okay. And we don't know, once again, what the order will be or if there will be an order. Hopefully they'll give some clarity on that by noon on the 16th. There's a chance they won't. They might just have Becky Harsh come on and go, you know what to do. You know how to enter a score, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone that got an email on Monday will get another email on Thursday saying, welcome to quarterfinals. Here are your tests. The first 2 scored tests will be due no later than Friday at noon. Go for it. Because they know a lot of people will wait until they see the workouts before they sign up. You can sign up all the way up until the closing of the first scoring window. So
which is also true for the Open. Yeah.
Right.
So you can sign up all the way to March 17th at 11:59.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's also worth mentioning for anyone who's doing quarterfinals or potentially frustrated with this timing of it, that it's a global competition. So that 12 p.m. is Pacific time, and you have 24 hours from that time to submit your workouts. But for some people, that's midnight, then they're asleep, and for some people, it's 3 a.m., 6 a.m., or 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. But from whenever that moment is, you have 24 hours to do it. And you should, if you're good enough to be participating in the quarterfinals, you and or your coach should have already been thinking about that and planned out a way that you can, do these workouts, or a place that you can go to do these workouts that are not interfering with classes or whatever else. And yeah, for some people that might have to be late at night or early in the morning, or they might have to take an afternoon off of work. But if you want to participate in it, it wasn't not unknown. It's not like that's surprising. And this is the third year that we're doing it. So you should be prepared for that.
Okay. How many people will go from the quarterfinals to the semifinals?
300 men, 300 women.
From each region?
No.
Total.
All together.
In the world.
All
wow.
together.
Okay. And then from there to the games, it's 40 and 40.
Correct.
And we don't know that for sure. We're just guessing from last year.
And we know that.
They've already said that.
Yeah. There are 23 pre-distributed spots and 17 that will be allocated between quarterfinals and semifinals to get to a total of 40.
And the how many of these semifinals are there?
There are 7, correct.
So 7. So they all don't have the same amount of participants.
North America East, West, and Europe have 60 men and 60 women. The other 4 have 30 each.
Okay. Wow. These could be really amazing events.
Yeah, I think that the North American semifinals and the European semifinals are going to be extremely competitive and extremely entertaining. The only caveat to that is, CrossFit has yet to announce or release what the format that those 60-person competitions is, or the format that they will, take place as. So there are, I'm hopeful that they've thought that through well and that they have a good plan in place for how to do that. I have my own speculations and opinions, but those competitions are 4 days long, whereas the ones with only 30 men and 30 women are 3 days long. So there is already a built-in additional time to accommodate those athletes, because there's also more teams competing in those competitions.
40 teams, I believe, right? 40 teams with the 60 individuals. So that's, to Brian's point, it makes you wonder, is everyone going to compete 4 days? Are the teams going to start Thursday and be done on Saturday, and then the individuals start on Friday and be done on Sunday? How are they going to stagger everything? Are they going to cut? Are they not going to cut? With 4 days, they could potentially do a cut before Sunday. And you could take 6 out of the 8 tests. And then if you're in the bottom 30, so the bottom half, you're done. Might not be any cuts at all, but we don't know any of that stuff yet.
Do all of the, will all of the semifinals have the same workouts?
Yes.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, and that's definitely going to affect the choice.
They might
of the
not all take place on the same days or relative days. That's what we're waiting to see.
Okay. And that's going to be interesting, because that's always, there's always there in some of these places, there are some equipment restrictions. They're not going to take 30, what are those things you put on your shoulder and you walk with?
Yoke.
You're not going to have 30 yokes in Africa.
They might have the same number of yokes as they do athletes in the top 100.
Right. Oh, what is this number? What's Halpin sharing?
Those are the number of participants in each semifinal. And then what he's saying is the most likely outcome based on all the studies that he's done about the current worldwide rankings, the projected worldwide rankings after quarterfinals, and the subsequent application of the DeHaunt method for the distribution of the final 17 spots.
So 22 from North America, 10 from Europe, and then 3 Australia, and then it just trickles down to whatever those other places
are. Yeah, and
if
that's the case, then exactly what I thought was going to happen when they first announced this is going to happen, which is all 17 spots that they took away from Europe and North America are just being redistributed back to Europe and North America. And if that's the exact case that it is, then this is actually worse for Europe than it's been the last 2 years, where they had 11 qualifiers because they got one through the last chance qualifier each year. And it actually did nothing in terms of achieving the stated goal, which is to have a field that's more reflective of the actual competitive landscape for both men and women.
And when you mean worse for Europe, you mean not just necessarily less people, but less people who are deservingly to go relative to the field. Meaning
they would last year there were 11 women a year. If those numbers hold that Mike said, they would have 10 this year. And I'm contending that they should have at least 15. based
Right,
on
based
their competitive
on how good
performance.
they are. Okay. Ethan Bowen brings up a good point. He will also be going. He will be going to the semifinals if he does. So he says, "I'll be going to the semifinals if they don't make me submit a video." Let's talk about that for a second. What are the rules with the quarterfinals? Do all of these people, do all 300 people, will they have to have videos of every single one of their workouts?
Historically, they've asked for 2 workout videos. Is that right, JR?
I know last year 2 athletes that competed at Crash and did all the quarterfinals there got thumbs up for all their tests videos.
They submitted videos on their own, or they were asked by CrossFit to submit all 5 videos?
They submitted all 5 and got approval for all 5.
But if you submit 0, what will happen? If you submit 0 videos?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if they request just 2, request 1. From my understanding, they would do it based on the leaderboard in the 24-hour window. Like if you were someone that was in the top 10 after day 1, they went ahead and asked for those videos.
And basically what I'm saying is they should be asking for the bottom 10 of the qualifiers, not the top 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that in the email that they sent, JR? In that first email, doesn't it say make sure you videotape all of your, or make sure you record all of your workouts?
Well, there's been some problems with this in the past, and I would prefer to move on to the floor layout plans pretty soon after this. But Halpin just explained it here. It says that you should have them available, but you do not necessarily need to share them. And in the past, there's been grace period where it would say, "Hey, Sevan, great job on quarterfinal test number 2. Can we see your video for that?"
Okay.
And you'll say, "I didn't take a video of it." And they'll say, "Okay, well, you have 3 days to give us a video that shows that you can do that work."
Oh.
And if that's the case, then you open up just another one of these scenarios that could happen in the open, where I could just put in 5 scores, wait for them to ask me for the videos for whichever ones they want to see. And then I know that based on the past circumstances that if they say, "Hey, we need to see workouts 2 and 5, then I would be like, "Okay, I'm going to go do those 2 workouts," having maybe never done them before, and send the videos. And if they're the same score or close to what I got, then they may not ask for 1, 3, and 4.
Yep. And Halpin or Brian, when you guys can correct me, but I'm almost positive that they've given themselves essentially 8 days. That they've said that on the 27th, the quarterfinals leaderboard will be finalized. So it ends on the 19th. And then on that Monday, they send out invitations for teams and age group qualifiers. And then the following Monday, the 27th, I believe, is when the quarterfinals individual leaderboard, they said, will be finished.
Thank you, Jared. Mason Mitchell, why would you volunteer to share reps so keyboard warriors like Killer can attack you? Well, that's the reason. You want people to do that while there's still time left to redo them, as opposed to if there's not time to redo it, right? I mean, that's the goal, to have people look at your shit and call you out, because if your shit's wrong, then you have a couple of days to redo it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we would hope that everyone who's participating in these things has some degree of integrity, but it's just known that that's not the case for everyone.
Magnus Holmgren, in reality, who cares about quarterfinals? All we want is Brian Friend. All right, fine. You got the best of both worlds. You got both. You got JR with lipstick. You got Caleb. You got Brian. Okay, let's take it over to these floor plans. Anything in any of these that stood out to you, like, oh shit?
Oh yeah, there's entirely too much that stood out to me, but I'm going to try to keep it as shallow of a dive as possible.
Okay. Brian, let's try to get him to go as deep as possible. Well, let's try to fuck up JR's plan. And notice, by the way, just in defense of CrossFit, they got a camera in here. So, I mean, that's like, better have a fucking normal camera. Yeah.
They do.
You better film that shit. Okay. So test number 1, that means it's test number 1. That's why even number. Well, I guess you have to number them so we can talk about them.
Well, no, you've got to number them because the athletes got to know which tests they got to submit scores for by the end of the 24-hour window, which is going to be test 1 and 2, regardless of what order they do them in. 1 and 2 are going to be due Friday at noon.
And look, Sevan, what you're saying is what everyone knows. If you're going to number the tests 1 through 5, there's an implication there that your intent was for them to be done in orders 1 through 5, but they're not monitoring that. So the tests do matter for the reason JR said, but they're kind of silly for the reason that you're thinking.
Okay. And why are there 6 slides if there's only 5 tests?
An alternate view for the first workout.
Oh. Okay, shit. All right. God, this is getting complicated. When was the first year they introduced floor plans?
2021.
Whoo. Scott Perkins, hell no, share it all, JR. Okay. What do you guys see? What's the plan here? We're going to look at these, and then you guys are going to speculate on what you think the workouts are?
Yeah, I think actually before we start talking about this one, because we have rings here, it's probably good to listen to something Adrian has said. And I think it's important, like after last year and all the predictions, saying that he's been kind of an open book compared to how Dave was, about telling us a little bit about how he thinks and about things that he values and what he thinks athletes should be focusing on before the games and before the last chance qualifier and all that kind of stuff. So this is just a brief Instagram live he did with Rory, and what he says here at the end, to me, is something that everybody should have heard and should be taking note of, because it may come to light in the open. I would argue it did. It may in quarterfinals. I'll argue it will in semifinals and at the games.
Oh, this is good. I can't wait to hear this. All right.
It's like the whole training methodology is like, be broad, be capable, right? And when you take a tool and you reduce it down to one thing, I'm just like, it just seems like such a shame. To me, it's like, oh, well, I have a barbell, but all I do is deadlift with it. It's like, really, right. Why? Like, there's so much cool stuff you can do with a barbell. Why would you only do that? Yeah, I feel the same way about, the double unders. That's what a rope has become to a lot of people, is just my double under machine.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, and same thing with the rings, right? It's like, well, that's my muscle up machine. That's all I do is muscle ups on that. But, okay, cool. But there's a lot more that you can do that maybe you should do.
That you could do, not me personally, but that one could do with the rings.
No way, man. You give it 2 minutes, I bet you come up with a dozen different things that you're not doing now that you could do tomorrow.
Buddy Lee had a video that was like 200 things you can do with a rope. All right. So what you're saying, can we go back to that floor plan and specifically around that? I know, JR, you're saying, hey, you should just carry that with you, that voice and that sentiment with you through all the stages. But specifically here, you're talking about the rings?
Absolutely. Because how last year, some of the programming, the event that he chose to repeat, the legless rope climb event, the fact that we didn't get to see it put into action, but we know the alpaca was going to introduce a like 2001, 2, and 3 rope climb version that whenever it was programmed way back in the day, it was always either from a seated position or legless or L. It wasn't done any other way. And we didn't get to see that happen. But if we go backwards and we look at what he chose to do at all the regionals and then what he was going to do at the games, the age groups doing the strict pull-up max, all that kind of stuff, the writing was kind of on the walls. So he did muscle ups the first week of the open. Maybe that was his way of saying, hey, this is the easy ring movement, guys. This is the unicorn that you guys think about, but really it's like one of the easiest ring movements you can do. Now, I'm not saying that in quarterfinals we're going to do back rolls to support, but I absolutely think that a back roll to support is something that they're going to do at the games, if not this year, in years to come. Because I think that for a lot of people, movements like that were reserved for grid, or they were reserved for just Glassman videos. Or like you said, Glassman came down the hall one day and just brought all of you guys into the gym and wanted to teach you guys a back roll to support for like 2 hours. So I think just going backwards, think about how many times ring dips have actually shown up in CrossFit Games competition. There was the 50s chipper, 2014, just like the legless workout at regionals. They did Elizabeth one year with power clean, not squat clean at the games. They did dumbbell snatch and ring dip in 2017 when it was the dumbbell year. But I absolutely think that these rings are not for muscle ups and they're for something else. They're either for ring dips They're going to find out a way to do a ring push-up standard where you elevate your feet, or you say, hey, measure the bottom of the ring. It has to be 6 inches off the ground. At the bottom, you have to touch the shoulder and fully lock out at the top. I mean, I think that there's going to be something like that. Another way of Boz reminding everybody, hey, basics, basics, basics.
I think push-ups. I think you're right. Oh, what about Patrick Clark here is saying? What about pec tears? What about recognizing? You think he starts with small numbers, thinking about that?
I mean, there's a few things it could do. I know judging is going to be the thing that people talk about the most. And while there's a ring dip on every ring muscle up, it's not consecutive and it's not fast, right? There's some time in between each of those ring dips where you get to scrutinize them a little bit more closely. But if he slowed you down and said you had to do strict ring dips, maybe that helps. Maybe it keeps people from staying up on the rings as long. But like Brian can tell you what he thinks. When I look at this layout, like it screams to me maybe 3 couplets back to back where you have a barbell and a handstand push-up movement, you have a barbell and a ring movement, and you have a barbell and a handstand walk movement. And it's kind of a progression, but also like a classic complementary push and pull, maybe like a deadlift with each of those gymnastics variations.
Oh, why not a triplet? I was thinking something that was organized more like.
I think there are
like
going
Nate.
to be at
Is it
least
Nate?
Yeah, but I think there are going to be at least 4 movements in this workout.
Right.
Because the 10 inches from the wall, and there's nothing that's indicating that it's a wall walk, because that other tape line is 8 feet away, which is much further than the starting point of a wall walk would be. So that 10 inches to the wall is almost definitely going to be for handstand push-ups or an evolution of handstand push-ups using the same standard that we saw in the open. The fact that they have 25 feet of space designated is I think a lot of people think that they're going to traverse the barbell across that space, which is possible, but I think that it's most likely just going to be an evolution from some kind of handstand push-up to a handstand walk later in the workout. Maybe you have 3 rounds with a barbell ring and handstand push-up movement evolving into 3 rounds of a different barbell ring and handstand push-up movement. And then you got the rings. So you got, something. Now, if the barbell is just maybe it's an overhead lunge across that space, then you could have a triplet where you have handstand push-ups, overhead walking lunge, and something on the rings.
What are the implications of that? Sorry if you guys already said this, of that 8 feet, the tape being 8 feet apart there.
It's just to make sure that
I think it's safety.
I think it could definitely be safety, but I think it's the floor layout plans, and Adrian addressed this in the podcast with Chase that came out this morning, are also put in place to eliminate some of the kind of ridiculous setups that we've seen in opens past, where people are just doing things in really tight quarters that are either, that's not really the intent of the transition, to just be sitting on the rower and then grab a pull-up bar that's immediately above it, or it's something that's distinctly advantageous if you have the setup available for that, but knowing that not everyone will.
Okay, because when I think of safety, if you just have one person out there, then I can't see a reason for having that. Why not? I mean, that 25 feet, I'm just thinking, why not have that 25 feet be away from that line on the wall? You're only going to have one person out there at a time.
Well, that's a great thing to talk about. I mean, the nice thing about having the floor layouts out on a Monday is that you can think about that. You can look at this and say, okay, I have to have this, this, and this to meet the check marks for this workout. And given the layout I have at my gym, how many people can I put through this workout at one time? And then I have, let's say, based on the space I have, I can do 4. And I have 20 people at my gym that have qualified for quarterfinals. So that means
Are there gyms like that? There's gyms where 20 people have qualified for quarterfinals?
JR, how many from your gym made quarterfinals?
More than 20.
Holy shit.
So it's
will they all do it, JR, there?
Probably not.
But think about that. To run 20 plus athletes through that workout that takes up so much space, is so demanding in terms of wall to rings to barbell to traversing 25 feet. And then let's just say the workout is a 15 to 20 minute time domain. And you have that many people that you need to do it in a 24-hour window, where there's also another workout that you have to get done, and you still are likely running classes and having all these other things going on. I mean, it is logistically challenging for some gyms, very logistically challenging for others, but at least they have Monday through Thursday to prep for that. Whereas in the open, when you have a workout like 23.2 A and B, it's just as demanding in terms of space that's needed, because not only do you need the space, the pull-up rig, all the space for the shuttle runs. Then you have to have heavy barbells loaded somewhere on the perimeter that you can move in. And it's just an excessive demand in terms of time and space, especially if you have hundreds of people that you're running through that workout.
Okay. Do we want to give a shot at what the workout is? Anything else we want to say before we slip? I think we should do that and then move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Lucky you, Brian.
Okay. I think we're going to have, I'm going to stick with kind of what I said before, which is I think there's going to be 3 rounds of a handstand push-up variation, an overhead squat, and a toes to ring, evolving into 3 rounds of handstand walking with maybe a same or a heavier overhead squat and a ring muscle up plus dips variation.
What's a ring muscle up plus dips? I mean, like a ring muscle up and then like a dip?
Like maybe every round has 7 ring muscle ups, but after each one, instead of doing 1 dip, you have to do 3.
Okay. So basically you're saying 3 rounds and each round is a different couplet.
It would be like a triplet into another triplet that's higher difficulty.
JR?
Yeah, and just to like piggyback off his point, I really like the idea of using high rings for ring dips instead of low rings because it gives puts a premium on being able to stay up for longer. It's like, say you're doing like a 3 rounds of 15 deadlifts, 15 ring dips, but on sets 2 and 3, fatigue is going to start to set in. Well, every time you come down and break, you got to do another muscle up to get back up there.
Which will not be the standard at the quarterfinals because it says rigs can be configured in any position. Right?
What it means is that they need to be 5 feet away from your barbell in any direction.
Okay, but they could be low to the ground, right? It's not what?
We don't know that. They have not specified if they're low or high rings.
Okay, so those are the kind of things they can
assuming-
change that? They can change that?
Yeah, I'm assuming that they're high rings because of the way the diagram is, but what was it last year where they just put a barbell or a squat rack or something and no other information, and then it ended up being the total, the other total. So yeah, there's definitely still the possibility that there's some missing information here.
Okay.
Sure.
JR?
I'll just keep it simple and say like 3 rounds of 21 deadlifts, 21 handstand push-up. A lot of people have asked me, do you think they could do deficit and just say that the edge of the plates are what has to touch the edges of the 30-inch tape line? So your hands have to be on top of the plates, but you just have to put the plates on each edge, outer edge. It's possible. It could be a progression from like strict to deficit strict, or even kipping deficit, which they did last year. But just for the sake of this, I'll say that, hey, if you were strong enough in the open to show that you could do them strict, now you get the right to kip them. So we'll just say the 3 rounds of kipping, 21 kipping handstand push-ups, 21 deadlifts, rest a minute. 3 rounds of 15 deadlifts, 15 ring dips, rest a minute. 2 rounds of that. So 3 rounds of 21, 21, 2 rounds of 15 and 15, and then 1 round of like 9 deadlifts and 9 handstand walk reps. So like one 25-foot segment is 1 handstand walk. You have to do 9 of those.
All righty.
But I really like Brian's overhead squat prediction. I was telling a lot of the people that are doing quarterfinals that if I had to guess, I would say it's probably a hinge from the floor. But if it's not, I think overhead squat with shoulder interference makes a ton of sense because the first 2 years of quarterfinals, we've gotten very dense shoulder fatigue tests.
Time domain?
I think this will be one of the longer ones, if not I think one of the 2 longer ones, 15 minutes-ish.
All right. Number 2. Wow. Okay. I like this.
This should be the open diagram for 24.1. Perfect.
I love that rope.
Yeah. I think it's RX Smart Gear.
You recognize it? Dumbbell, 1 dumbbell.
Mm-hmm.
1 jump rope. One could even say it looks like some sort of heavy rope. 1 jump rope, 1 dumbbell.
I don't think it's going to be quite that simple, though.
You have to hold the dumbbell in your feet while you jump the rope and jump up, lifting the dumbbell up with your feet.
Not that complex either.
I think it's important too, when you look at this floor plan specifically, that people automatically assume it's a couplet. That is not the case. It could be 5 different dumbbell movements with sets of double unders in between each one, much like that open workout that had 100 double unders after every movement. So just saying that this is going to be one of the couplets is you don't know that at all. But I think something that is worth mentioning is that last year when we got floor plans on test 1, we had a pair of dumbbells and wall space. And everyone was thinking, oh, it's going to be dumbbell squats and handstand variations, or it's going to be dumbbell thrusters, or it's going to be devil press. And what do? We lunged for reps, for steps, and not for distance. So they didn't include that on the floor plan. So like my idea from this, and I know Brian knows this workout because it came out on main site recently, really simple. 5 rounds, 50-foot overhead walking lunge with 1 dumbbell, 50 double unders. Do I think a test like that is appropriate for quarterfinals? Yes, if you mandate the double unders have to be unbroken this time. And it just becomes a signature Boz. It pays to be accurate. It pays to not mess up. It would make a lot of sense to me for it to be something simple like that. 5 rounds, 50-foot overhead walking lunge with a 70 or 50 double unders unbroken. If not, yeah, maybe we do get single unders. And it's like, hey, you got to do 200 singles and then whatever, 50 dumbbell snatches and then 200 double unders and 50 squat snatches. I mean, it could be something like that too. The possibilities are endless with this setup right here.
You bastard. That was like almost my exact prediction for the workout.
Was it
JR,
really?
we showed
Yeah, I
that.
was going to say 400 single unders, 40 dumbbell snatches, right? Like with the heavy dumbbell, and then 200 double unders, or 40 per arm with the heavy dumbbell, and then 200 double unders, 20 per arm squat snatches with the lighter dumbbell.
JR, what about this video that we started the show with, showing Rory and Adrian, that you're letting us know, hey, it might be the same equipment, but it's going to be movements you haven't seen before. And do you have any outlandish predictions with that dumbbell? It'll be used as a kettlebell swing. Do you have any outlandish predictions for the rope? Triple unders.
You know, I sent some touches to a lot of the people that follow some competitive programming that I give them. And just at the end of like a EMOM, I told them, hey, just do 30 triple unders, just accumulate 30. And they were all like, what do you mean? You think we're going to have to do those? I said, no, I don't think you're going to have to do them. But what if you do? At least this is not the first time you ever tried.
Right.
More likely to see a triple under or to see a crossover double under?
I think triples are easier to judge, unfortunately, than crossover doubles. But I think it would be really unlikely that we see either of them. When you see the dumbbell, like the last thing that I would think of, that's actually what I was going to say. That's really good. So that's actually was going to be my prediction for what the kettlebell was used for. We think about when there's ever been weighted pistols in CrossFit competition, it was on the Cinco's 1 with the 405 deadlifts and the weighted pistols. And I'm almost positive that was also one of the few times they mandated you had to do 5 reps on the right and then 5 reps on the left. You did not alternate legs on pistols. One of the few times I've ever done that. So I thought that maybe the kettlebell, everyone was going to think, oh, what are we going to use the kettlebell for? And since they've done pistols the last 2 years, they were actually going to use the kettlebell for a weighted pistol.
By the way, when I think of Adrian Bosman and movements, I think overhead squat and weighted pistols. That's.
Well, like I will wait till the games prediction show, but I found a gym, some might call, of him doing a 1-arm overhead kettlebell squat pistol.
Yeah,
1-arm kettlebell pistol overhead.
I think I've seen that. Is it outside when he does it? The video?
I can't tell you that. People will try to go find it.
Okay. What about this reverse? I've never actually seen it. Caleb, maybe is there such thing as a reverse?
Yeah, wasn't there
backwards
someone
double under?
who when they first showed up at the games, they were doing double unders in reverse?
I think there was, and Jason is really, really good at backwards double unders. He can do like 20 or 30 unbroken. It's just like he has like jump rope skill sessions, and he was like, "Hey, can you do these?" And I said, "No, dude, I'm going to be so uncoordinated." And he got his rope and just did like 20 of them. But it's really impressive to me. I actually asked Chase today.
I got it, kid.
I said, "Handstand walking backwards, uncommon movement clause or no?" Because think about it. They've always said for double unders, the rope must turn forward twice. But they've never said that you could not walk backwards on a handstand walk. And I've got a really good friend who is a collegiate pole vaulter, and she still says to this day she can walk way faster backwards than she can forward on her hands. But she's always wondered if she was allowed to do it because it's not in the rules, but would it be an uncommon movement?
Dude, this chick makes these look smooth.
All
There's
these
nothing-
people are saying that the athlete that I thought that it might have been, I just couldn't remember, but it was Josh Bridges when he first started doing CrossFit.
Not double. He did singles backwards though. I don't think he did double unders backwards.
I think
I'll
it
have-
was doubles.
I have a memory of him talking about that somewhere.
I have him on tomorrow. I'll ask him. I'll put it.
I want to say, was it not maybe an 11.1? Like in the first open workout ever that he did his double unders backwards, maybe? Because it couldn't have been a rule back then. It was the first time they were ever programmed like in the open. I guess maybe they did them at the games maybe in 2009 or 10.
2009 was the first time. Yeah, also in 2010.
CrossFit Corey, I tried it and it's pretty easy. Okay.
That's cool. But yeah, the other thing I was thinking too is that like, you know, I think we talked about this kind of a trickle down from them doing the pistols all on one side and all on the other. Could it be a one-arm dumbbell movement where it's mandated 10 dumbbell snatches right, double unders, 10 left, double unders, 10 right, double unders, and you just fatigue that one limb over and over again until you're not able to really do them unbroken? Or could we ever see like a stationary lunge where you just have the dumbbell overhead or on the shoulder or on the front rack and you're lunging 100 reps, but you're not displacing anything. You're just stepping back. Remember you said Greg hated step back lunges.
The walking lunge for him is the only lunge.
Yeah.
And JR, what do you think about the thought that they might have 2 different weight dumbbells for this workout? It only shows one there. You might only be using one at a time, but could you have something that progresses either from the 50-35 to 70-50 or the other way around?
Absolutely. And I actually think about a Wodapalooza qualifier from maybe 2 years ago. That was like a handstand walk workout that had dumbbell snatches that went from 50 to 70, and how cool of a workout I thought that was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tomorrow we will
Still
Okay.
won't know. Thursday.
And I think this was going to be on the shorter end of like a 6 to 8 minute workout.
Wow. So Josh just gave me an answer to the question. We'll save it for tomorrow's show. If you would like to know, he's got a lot of information on it. Yeah. Yes, you are a big deal. Okay. Predictions for that. Thank you, Caleb. Let's get the show moving along. Predictions for this.
I'm going to say it's a chipper. 400 single unders, 80 dumbbell snatch with a heavy one, 40 per arm, 200 double unders, and then 20 dumbbell squat snatches per arm with the lighter one.
A chipper. I like it.
I should keep it simple and just do that main site. 5 rounds for time, 50 and 50. Overhead walk and lunge. Double unders have to be unbroken.
So a couplet, kind of opposite of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Good to go. We'll accept it. Test number 3. JR predicts against for workout. Test number 2 against his own advice. Bold move. Okay. Just one view on this. Tape lines 5 feet apart. A plyo box doesn't tell us how high it is, but it looks like one of those ones that has 3 different heights, and a barbell. Oh, and this one has did those other ones have athlete start? I don't remember seeing that.
No, this is the only floor plan that shows an athlete start.
Much to JR's pleasure.
Yeah, what is the point of that? I'm not sure I understand. What would
I
what
think the point of this is basically that the movement's the workout's probably gonna start with whatever the box movement is, and they want you to start 5 feet away from it. So you have to move there, do whatever on the box before you come back.
Oh, I was thinking that it's because whatever the number of reps are to go back and forth 5 feet, they want you to finish on a certain side.
I think this is well.
You think
I
that
just
there's, or am I just crazy? Or you guys should make fun of me if you think there's some sort of movement there that's 5 feet back and forth, or that's a safety thing.
I don't think so.
So this has basically been a test 5 in 2021 and 2022 quarterfinals. It's been the exact same floor plan,
Except with the rower.
Yeah. So in 2021, it was 963. That actually started. They actually started opposite where the box is on that one, because they ended on the box jump over. Snatches 185, 135. Burpee box jump overs, everyone uses 30 inches. And then in 2022, it was for time, 30 cal row, 20 burpee box jump overs, 24 and 20, 10 snatches, 185, 135. So this is pretty similar to that floor plan minus the rower, but very similar to 2021, which makes a lot of people wonder, would he do a repeat in a quarterfinals?
Hey, you answer that. What do you think?
I think he would, but I don't think he will. I actually think that this test is going to be similar. I think it's going to be a high power output test. I think this has a potential to be one of the heavy tests, because as we go through them, we'll see that there's not just a squat rack and there's not just a barbell, that maybe strength is going to be tested under some fatigue. And I could see something like a similar rep scheme, like maybe 12-9-6 of burpee box jumps, which they haven't done, where you have to open your hip at the top, or clears, where you have to jump all the way over the box, just as a small wrinkle, and then like a clean and jerk at 225.
Hey, wasn't there in that weight list, in that list of weights, wasn't there something in there that showed that there wouldn't be anything heavy, or no?
No.
Did they tell you how much weight you need in plates in that equipment list? No. Too much detail? Okay. Well, it's I like the clips they have in this picture, how they have clips on there. Those are awesome.
Yeah. Some people were asking me too if like he would kind of pay homage to maybe some of the old regionals workouts. And like when I see this, I think 21-15-9 deadlift box jump at 315, and how brutal of a test that would be for like a quarterfinal. I think the idea is pretty cool. I think it would be a little more cool if they tweaked it a little to be like a burpee box jump, so you still opened up the hip, but that line being there just screams over. You got to be going over the box, or else why even have the tape line? Unless it's just to show that it's 5 feet away.
I don't understand.
The tape line is it's designated one of two things: either just the 5 foot increment, but it's more likely also suggestive of a burpee where you have to straddle the line. And if it's shown on both sides of the box, then you'd assume you'd have to straddle.
What the fuck is the point of that? What's the thing? Rule
to make sure you're perpendicular to the box and you're not doing your burpee at it like a diagonal.
What? I don't get why they would care.
I mean, it's a legitimate question for sure, and I think that Adrian was alluding to it again on the podcast this morning. It's like, do we need floor limits? And there's you can make the argument for or against. This is just
why not just make 2 feet
that
on the ground? Like, is there any implication of athleticism or I just don't get why you would need to straddle that line if you got both feet on the ground. Who cares if you're forward, backward? Who gives a shit?
You do not.
No, I just want it to be easy for the judges, and I want to see athleticism and creativity.
I think they're just trying to create a uniform standard to say we're not doing lateral burpee box jump overs. We're doing box facing burpee box jump overs. I mean, it's different. Like when I program at the gym, we'd have burpee over bar, and it's a busy class. I don't care. Most people are doing them lateral to the bar.
Diagonal is faster. Let them do it. Exactly.
A couple of times during the year, I will make them do bar facing burpees, facing the bar perpendicularly, just in case it comes up, because it has before, so that they're ready for it. And I think that it's responsible as a coach to have your athletes practice both. And the lateral jump is valuable, and turning around and facing the bar takes more time.
And Sevan, you asked about what's the big deal about not having the athlete start arrow on all the floor plans.
Yeah.
Is because people can't be trusted. And you're going to now make them go and read on the standards to the line that says at the call of 3, 2, 1, go, the athlete will start at blah, 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 and then progress to blah, 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 where they will start their 30 handstand push-ups. It's a lot easier if the green arrow is just there and you can look at the floor plan and say, hey, where do I start? Oh, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I can probably start on the rower, like that kind of thing.
Okay. Right. See how good Caleb is? That's exactly, damn, you're good, Caleb. And then Caleb flips through them to show us that the arrow is missing on the other one. Damn, you're good. My feeling is this. I like if you're ever going to argue like that there's a difference between the workouts and then what happens at the affiliate, the competition workouts. Yeah. All your gym members maybe should have like some sort of line there and try to get your feet on either side straddle. But fuck, there's a point where I want to just fucking untether the athletes and let them go. Look, you got to get over this box, do a burpee, and get back over as fast as you can. Go. And let's see what happens. Let's see how that, I think, like, manifests.
Just the saying that you can't touch the box and do a box clear, like, it wouldn't be that far-fetched. I mean, I've talked about it before. You have to pay attention. At the games, the last thing they did on up and over before the axle lunge was they did clears over the pig, where you had to clear it in the air and you were not allowed to turn your body in the air. You had to land on the other side of the pig facing the same direction that you took off from. You weren't allowed to like turn your body. And so I think if they did something like this, it would add a little bit more athleticism, obviously a little bit more plyometrics, probably a little bit more leg fatigue and heavy breathing. So I think it would be cool if that was kind of trickled its way down.
Have you ever seen these videos? I make these videos on my Instagram where it shows my kids jumping, and then it comes to a point where they can't jump over something, so they have to dive over it. Have you ever seen that?
No.
And then they have to dive onto a mat. That'd be a great thing to see at the games. Make it just be like, hey, you got to clear this. And some athletes are going to look at that. The vast majority of the athletes are going to look at that and be like, hey, there's no fucking way I can get over that, jumping over that. And then someone's going to be like, yeah, you got to dive over it.
You got to go head first.
And then they're going to say, Avi, come on out here and show these guys how
yeah,
to do it.
you got to go fucking head first. You got to go head first. I could see it in that, like that event. What was the event where they ran back and forth and then they had to do the jerks on the blocks? What was that event?
Shuttle to overhead.
Yeah, stick something fucking high in the middle of the field out there that they got to get over. All right, free advice from Sevan. Dive roll. Yeah, dive roll. Thank you. CrossFit Core.
I have a thought about this workout. I think that we might see, in a recent podcast, very not random, Boz mentioned a workout of power cleans and handstand push-ups from the open years back. There was an increasing rep scheme of one movement, but not the other, or at different intervals they would increase.
Different intervals, yeah.
And I think we might see an AMRAP here of burpee box jump overs and heavy deadlifts, with one increasing more frequently than the other.
And which one? The deadlift increasing? No.
I would say same number of burpee and then deadlift increasing, unless kind of like 17.1 or 20.2. Was that
but
the
it could,
deadlift?
but it also could just be an homage to the if you're thinking along these lines of the toes to bar and clean and jerks, where it's like 3, 3, 6, 6, 9, 9. I could see something as simple as that. It's like 6 or 7 minute AMRAP of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, etc. Deadlifts at 315 and burpee box jump overs. It's just
so you think deadlifts is a good?
I think it fits here, and I think that deadlift box jump combo is an old school open couplet that we were used to seeing that hasn't been tested recently.
I like it. I would love to see heavy deadlifts. When you say heavy, you mean 315 or bigger, higher?
Yeah. They did have that one year they went up to 35 reps at 365 pounds. It was 14.3, which I thought was the only bad open workout that year.
I just thought of a way they could do the jump over. You could make it so they have to jump over, but because you feel sorry for the athletes the first year, you put the high crash pads on the other side so that they don't have to do you want to take a shot at this, JR? What you think it's going to be?
No, I like Brian's guess. I am a little bit inclined to wonder if there's going to be some sort of death by trickle down, and maybe that will trickle down to the semifinal level because they did death by wall ball for the age group semifinals last year, and they've done something similar in the open with 13.5. You just kept doing thrusters and chest to bars until you couldn't get the work done anymore. They've also done it with like overhead squat and chest to bar a couple years in the open where the reps just kept going up and the time interval stayed the same until you just couldn't finish the work in the allotted time anymore. And I wonder if, like, to what Brian said, where one of the movements stays the same, maybe the box movement stays the same, but the barbell movement increases and it's a death by format here, where you have 2 minutes to do 15 burpee box clears and then 3 deadlifts. And then you start again, 15-6, and you start again, 15-9, then you start again, 15-12, and you start again, 15-15. You just keep going. If there's going to be a workout like that, or if we're just thinking way too hard about it.
I wish there was a gym I wonder if there's a gym in my area close to me. I'm going to regret saying this, that has a quarterfinals night where I could go watch people do quarterfinals. I was just thinking about how
it takes place over 3 days. So like I've blocked out times at our gym for that. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's communicated to like the 24-hour access members that the floor space is reserved for quarterfinal athletes during this time. And it's open to anyone who would want to come by and watch them do the workouts. And I'm sure a lot of gyms have something like that.
I was just thinking about how invested JR has to be. He owns the building. He's got a fucking shitload of clients who are doing it, a shitload of clients, even more clients who aren't doing it. And I was just thinking, fuck, it would be so good for me for these kinds of shows if I went down there every night and just watched like for 20 minutes and just get some perspective on just what this fucking takes to pull this off and how hard the athletes are working, instead of just sitting here in my chair and waiting for people to donate money. Like, you know, maybe make a little more investment myself. Sevan pretending he's going to leave the house. Well, no, what I'm worried about is some affiliate down the street's going to invite me now.
That's probably going to happen.
Good. I hope so. Go on a Saturday. No, I'd actually go every night. I'd take my boys down there. I'd love to do that. Like if JR's place was like 3 miles down the road, I'd do it. I'd love to.
Not Brian's place.
Fuck Chicago, dude. Fuck Chicago. It's so gross. I can't believe you live there. It's grosser than where I live. I implore you. I beg of you to leave. No, you're doing God's work there. It's good. Okay, test number 4. What the fuck are these machines? Are those transform? Someone left their transformers on the. My kids left their toys on the.
Check the equipment lists. Process of elimination. You can figure it out.
That's a mechanical bull on the left, and it says GHD touch floor. That's a rower. God, I hate it already. My kids do these magic tricks. They get magic tricks from Amazon, and I hate the magic tricks that come with like equipment. Like it's a plastic thing. You put the coin in it. They slide it over. They pull it out, and the coin's gone. I'm like, dumb, dude. They're like, no, it's cool. I'm like, no, I want to see you like take this pen, and just make it disappear. You know what I mean? Gone. Bye. Like what? See? Magic.
Holy shit. Can you do that again?
And that's when I see this. I just see 2 pieces of equipment and I just hate it. I just fucking hate it.
Well, I think that some people will also hate it.
Yeah, I hate it.
I personally think this is going to be a very difficult test. You know, even as simple as it might look. So I think this one's going to hurt.
Go ahead. Tell me. This is a couplet, right?
Not necessarily. And I think of the 2 perceived or the 3 perceived couplets, this is the one that's most likely to be a triplet with pistols thrown in there. And it might seem boring or redundant, but he's had a pistol GHD workout each of the last 2 years, right, JR?
Yeah, this would be the 3rd year in a row.
The thing I've been curious about, because obviously there's no starting area here, is if there's a possibility of having a forced time for a row as a buy-in to this workout, and then if you don't make it, that your workout's over.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think Caleb has a picture of it, but it's kind of easy to explain. Last year in the Last Chance qualifier, similarly to Jackie Pro, when he said, hey, you got to row this hard or your workout's over. We saw some people not be able to do that on Jackie Pro. Last Chance qualifier, 8 minutes for guys, 9 minutes for girls. 2K row, max distance handstand walk. I was one of the ones that pushed back and said, I don't think that's enough time. I think they should have more time. But what did we see like Tim Paulson do, right? He did what others didn't want to do. He rode to the edges of his capacity and still had time to accumulate a lot of reps at handstand walk. So I think about a workout like that, and could he say, you know, you guys aren't safe either at quarterfinals. You guys are going to have to give too. So you have a 9-minute window and you're going to row a 2K, and whatever time you have left, you're going to do max GHDs. And it's every single GHD counts. And do you want to row 5 seconds faster just so you can get 2 more GHDs? Yeah, I have some other, I guess, kind of crazy ideas, but
I like that crazy idea.
The other thing that I've thought about for this test, and it's a more of a concept that people have been throwing around out there, you know, is that we've had these, you know, these isolated strength tests periodically or frequently show up. We had one in quarterfinals last year, one in quarterfinals the year before, one in the Open this year, but we rarely have at the Open or quarterfinal stage had an isolated test that's not a strength test. So people have thought, oh, well, maybe this year we'll have an isolated rowing test, or we'll have an isolated gymnastics test. And other people have even gone so far to say, well, if they do that, maybe they'll combine them, like some people wish they had done with 23.2 A and B. So I think that there's also the potential here for something like a rowing time trial, and then from whenever you finish or at a specific time that you start a gymnastics test, and that you can combine those two scores. And it could be a single modality gymnastics test of 100 GHD sit-ups per time, or it could be a couplet of gymnastics with the GHD and the pistol that the row is factored into. I don't think that that's likely, but it is something that I've heard people talking about.
yeah, we stage 1 of the games 2020, we got the 1K row and we got the max handstand hold. Max handstand hold specifically has been programmed so much in the last couple of years, all kinds of isometric holds on main site and other places, to where that's just something we need to be doing. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's legitimate to ask, could it happen at semifinals? We always see strength isolated in its own modality, and we don't see that. We've only really seen it at the games where it's one thing, not triple threes, guys. That's 3 things. One thing, like a 2K row or a max L sit or 30 rope climbs for time, where there's nothing with it. There's no shuttle runs or anything like that. And to Brian's point, I think it would be great to mix that kind of stuff in, so that you don't just look for the, okay, cool, what's the lift here? Okay, cool, what's the lift going to be? And there's not always going to be one. There's one small thing that, again, I'm probably reading into this too much. Caleb, can you pull up the 2 pictures of the last 2 years quarterfinals GHD workout?
I have 2 questions for you, by the way, about the workout.
So this is
what is this? Sorry, what is this again?
This is just a screenshot of
last year's.
That's last year's, yeah. And then we can go to the 2021.
Now, when they first released the floor plan, that blue box with the writing was not on it.
But what is that? Is that
Correct?
Is it raining somewhere? Someone's at?
Yeah, not here. I do hear that though. Okay.
But Caleb, what is that? It's not bugging me. I just want to know what it is. Or is maybe your toilet's overflowing in the bathroom? Sounds like water rushing onto the floor or something.
I just got that fixed, so should be good.
But what is that sound? What is that? Is it rain?
1 hour, 28 minutes, and 24
No,
seconds into the show.
my heater just kicked on.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, yeah, stay warm, buddy. I ain't hating. I just like.
So just the crazy person in me just wonders. Everyone knows what a GHD is. Everyone knows where your feet go. Everyone knows where you touch. Why on this year's floor plan does it say GHD touch floor?
That's my
Now-
question.
now-
That was my
now-
question. Why? Tell us.
Again, we go back to what he said. You guys see this thing and you think, oh, that's the only thing you can use it for. While I don't think they would find out a way to do hip extensions in a quarterfinal setting where you go down and you touch the ground and you come to parallel, whatever. I do think that when you look at other things on the equipment list and you look at the fact that we've only done 40 wall balls and we know that there's a wall ball on the equipment list, that this could absolutely be med ball GHD sit-ups.
Well, I still don't answer your question. You're not answering your question, and I need an answer.
It says GHD touch floor. In the past, there's always been pads there. The males get a riser and the females get a riser. Why feel the need to tell everyone this is where you touch the floor on the GHD sit-up?
Yeah.
Why add that box at all if it doesn't mean something? Now, it might just be reiterating to people, hey, you have to touch within the footprint. I really don't think that they would be putting the blue there, but in case they think that people are going to try to go to the side and touch, which they oftentimes do when they touch with both hands, maybe it's just their way of saying, hey, this is the target that you're going to touch with the med ball.
What do you mean to the sides? Like the really tall guys?
Be just a target
go
that you're
wide?
going to touch with your hands, and they're going to force you to stay within the parameters of the GHD.
Yeah, and maybe that's what that is. I was just very, very puzzled by that, and I went back and looked at those floor plans to see, like, has this always been there? Like, why is this here? So, yeah, again, I think that sometimes the picture isn't complete. Like Brian said, we knew we needed a flat bench, but the picture of the bench didn't make it into the floor plan last year for the other total, and then we still ended up using the bench even though it wasn't in the picture. So we don't see a medicine ball anywhere. Any of these workouts. There's no heavy medicine ball, and we only did 40 wall balls in the open. I just think that it could be a cool wrinkle that we did something like a med ball GHD setup, and it's not something that's uncommon. Something they've done at the games many times.
Is there a med ball on the equipment list?
20 and 14.
Let me ask you this. This is off subject a little bit, but do you think for sure there will be pistols in the quarterfinals?
Not for sure, but I think if I had to bet yes or no, I would bet on yes, and I would bet on them in this workout.
Okay.
And if I had to bet yes or no, I would say no. But if they had to be in a workout, it would definitely be this one.
Didn't we talk about what about the the one that was the dumbbell and the jump rope? For pistols.
We had talked about it, but I don't think either of us ended up thinking that would be the case there.
Okay. Rambo, this is not appropriate. I wish Haley was competing. Not appropriate. Not appropriate. We all wish she was competing. Okay. Bring your own, Kate, bring your own med ball. You think Kate drinks while she watches the show?
You want a prediction for this one before we move on?
Please.
JR, you want to go?
Sure. I hope it's not this. Because I think
I've never heard him say that.
Because I think rowing for distance and not calories is silly at this level. But this is a really been a repeated main site workout tons of times. 2K row, 50 med ball GHD, 1K row, 35 med ball GHD, 500 meter row, 20 med ball GHD.
Savage. Horrific, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Although much more time is spent on the row, some would argue that you could still make up time on both movements. I would still say it's more dependent on the row.
741 people.
Promise you that.
741 people watching, only 118 likes. Those of you who can't hit the like button, just go home now. Just turn us off. If you don't like us, turn us off. And subscribe also. Don't be silly. Just subscribe. I talk about a lot of cool stuff besides the games. You're going to love it.
I'm going to go with the triplet on this one. I'm going to say 2 rounds, 50 cal row, 50 GHD, 50 pistols.
What about these machines, Mr. JR? Is there anything about these machines where we've been closed-minded in our thinking of how to use them?
That's what he was talking about. The potential for a hip extension, the introduction of a med ball GHD. I don't think there's anything. I don't think we're going to be doing anything with the rower other than rowing.
Overhead squat with the rower?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing hug a Twinkies with the GHDs. I don't think we're going to be doing burpees over the erg. I mean, we could for sure do that, and it wouldn't be something that people see coming. People do it in training all the time where they just use the rower as a barbell and do lateral burpees over the rower. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we suspect we're already going to get some burpees with that box and those lines.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, and look, I think JR is doing the same thing. And when I'm putting out these predictions, I'm like trying to have a reasonable test of 5 things, so not duplicating too many movement patterns, etc.
Okay, final test. Wow, we did it. Our first sign of the pull-up rig, right?
Yeah, and hopefully a rope is right next to it.
Yeah, I don't understand that rope. What the fuck? Like,
Well, basically what he's saying is you have to have a pull-up rig and a rope that are both 8 feet away from the barbell and in the same plane. There's not an alternate view. Oh no, they say down there at the bottom. As long as they can be configured anywhere, as long as they're 8 feet away from the barbell. So you could have a view where there's a rig 8 feet to the barbell and then perpendicular to 90-degree angle, 8 more feet to your rope over there. If you have to traverse between the pull-up rig and the rope in that situation, then you're at a little bit of a disadvantage if someone has this. But because of that nuance, I don't think that there'll be transitions between the pull-up rig and the rope.
and we don't know how long the rope is. Is there some sort of standard for a rope climb in CrossFit? Is it a 15-foot rope or 13-foot?
Yeah, pull up Pat Vellner's Instagram story today. You can see for yourself.
What the standard is?
It just made me laugh when I saw it.
And there's no way, if you have a rope that close to your pull-up rig, it's going to be fucking dangerous anyway. So basically, they're just saying a rope and a pull-up rig, and the rope and the pull-up rig have to be 8 feet away from the bar.
Correct.
They each have to be. And that's why I don't think... Oh. That's why I don't think that you'll be moving from the pull-up rig to the rope. I think every time that you finish on either one, you go back to the barbell before you go to the other, or that it'll be everything on the rig, everything on the barbell, then everything on the rope, or something like that.
What's Pat doing up there?
Getting ready for quarterfinals.
All right. Look at that rope is just fraying like a mofo. Go down a little bit. God. That's kind of crazy, right?
It's pretty common.
Hey, I feel like we have to say this, Brian. We've talked about discussing this many times and never have. If they're going to tell you what kind of barbell you have to use, 45-pound bar, 35-pound bar.
Are they going to? Did it say that somewhere?
They have. They've started doing that. And they're going to tell you, specific things that you have to use or that you can't use, certain height plates, whatever. Short straps and ring muscle ups are much easier than long straps. Some ropes are not 1.5 inches. Some are 1 inch. Some are 2 inches. All those things makes it easier. So at this stage specifically, do we think it's a good idea for them to say, hey, you need a pair of rings and you need to show that the strap is at least 8 feet long? We're already getting up on a ladder to measure a 15-foot rope. So why aren't we showing that ring straps are the same? Why aren't we showing that the diameter of our rings are not the skinny rings? And I'm not saying it matters for everybody. It doesn't. For the best, it doesn't matter. But for a lot of people, if you do a thruster legless rope climb workout and you add a pull-up movement in it, it's going to be a grip test. So if you have someone that has a rope that's only 1 inch in diameter versus someone that's got one that's 1.5 inches and they're doing 10 legless rope climbs, that might be enough to matter in the workout.
I know this, when I get ropes from Rogue, whatever they are, and they're new, my fingers can go into the grooves of the rope and it makes it significantly easier. Like way, 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 way easier. Crazy easier. It's like almost like the fatigue is like half as much. Just pick an affiliate how would they do that? They'd have to get behind a brand of rope or just the diameter?
I think that in this case, if they wanted to do something like that, either of the things that JR suggested, that those are things that would help in terms of unifying the competition for sure. But if they wanted to make those changes, they need to give adequate or ample time for people to accommodate that. I would say like a year. Hey, just so you guys know, next year for the Open, if ring muscle ups show up, you're going to have straps that are at least 8 feet long. If rope climbs show up in any stage of competition, you need ropes that are 1.5 inch diameter.
Ropes by Panchik. That's good. Yeah, little hands. Exactly. Yeah, I do not have big hands. Okay. Interesting. Maybe it doesn't matter in the quarterfinals. Maybe that shit only matters in the semifinals and the games because it's so nuanced. JR.
Yeah, maybe so.
Okay. And any thoughts on this?
I think this has the potential to be a really fun test. I think that we're going to get chest to bar pull-ups in this workout since we had none of them in the open for the first time in a while. And I think that high likelihood the barbell movement is a snatch here.
And I'll push back and say that I think the barbell movement's either a thruster or an overhead squat.
Another thruster.
The concept of having thrusters in volume does make a lot of sense, especially given what JR talked about. What Bosman talked about with having a thruster present in the open but not for volume. So I would say that's an excellent guess here as well.
A legless rope climbs or with the legs?
I think we are going to get legless here. A lot of people think it's too soon, but they had 40 strict handstand push-ups in the open, and I don't think it's really unreasonable at this point to see a legless rope climb as not equal to other strict gymnastics movements.
What about something crazy, JR? Skin the cats, 5 skin the cats, and then 5 rope climbs, and then 10 thrusters.
No, well, I do think like a bar pullover is very similar to like a back roll to support on the rings. I don't think that any kind of pullover or anything like that is going to be done at quarterfinals. I don't think they'll unveil any movement that's that obscure online. But I do wonder too, like, we did burpee pull-ups in the open. Maybe we do burpee chest to bar. Maybe we do burpee bar muscle up. But to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense only because the box has a line bisecting it that I just think is going to be used for nothing but burpees. So to me, the burpees don't make a lot of sense here. I think some type of Fran workout, maybe with a rope climb buy-in, makes a lot of sense. Bill Grunler had a really cool idea for one. So like, maybe it's something for time. And every round you have to start with like 1 legless rope climb or 2 regular rope climbs, and then you progress. But I think it could just be something really simple like 40 chest to bar, 20 thruster, 10 rope climb for time. Just something like that.
Yeah,
40,
I
40
really
20,
like
10.
that. I think more volume of chest to bar. I think at least 60. I think 60 and 30 makes more sense to me. I actually really like the thruster now that you bring it up.
Hey, where have the kettlebells been? There were kettlebells on that list, on the equipment list. We didn't see them in the open, right?
No, correct. And you will not see them for individual quarterfinals. You could still see them for team quarterfinals, age group quarterfinals, or age group semifinals.
So why don't you think we'll see them? Because these are floor plans, not equipment lists.
Well, if you're going to have there's a dumbbell that's shown there. There's no kettlebell shown anywhere. So
I think it would be awesome if we used a kettlebell in one of the workouts. They just were like, yeah, we don't have to put everything on the floor plan. You knew it was on the equipment list, but I don't think they'll do that.
Jamie Latimer, the old people have to do farmer's carries with it. That seems kind of like a go-to for old people, right? Farmer's carry.
Well, it's only ever been in online competition once, and that was last year for the semifinals with legless rope climbs. And
for the young people, right?
For the age group or for
all the age groups. Yeah.
I thought I saw the F word here. Look at another Victor. Fuck quarterfinals. Let's interview Brian. Dude, we had 3 hours of Brian. You're gonna dream about Brian tonight. We had 2 hours. We had Frisbee Brian, then we had real life Brian, and then now we have CrossFit Brian. What the fuck?
Brian, what do you think about legless rope climbs at this stage? If we saw 60-year-olds doing legless rope climbs in age group semifinals to get to the games.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Just think about like what's a reasonable volume of those, and if they did have them, would they have a different volume for men than women, which often does happen. But I like this. I like this last workout as being one of the shorter ones. Maybe like the best people finishing in the 4 to 6 minute range with something like an 8 minute time cap, and it's like I kind of like I said, I think there's gonna be chest bar pull-ups, maybe like 60 chest bar pull-ups. I really like the thrusters, maybe like 30 thrusters at 115 and 85, and then maybe 10 rope climbs or 5 legless rope climbs as the final component. 5 if it's like legless rope, is maybe like 5/4 legless rope climb.
Yeah, maybe
Or they might have a different height for women than men, which is what I usually do when I program them at the gym, 15 and 12 feet.
We didn't have one negative thing to say about the floor plans. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think if they could do like 60 chest to bar, 30 thruster, 6 rope climb, legless, but then make 3 for women.
Yeah. Would you rather see less number for women or a lower height per rep? I personally like the lower height per rep because I when we do rope climbs at the gym to 15 feet, like most of the proficient men are getting up there in 2 pulls, and most of the proficient women are getting up there in 3 pulls. It's like 30% harder for them to get up there. When we do legless rope climbs, I have a 15 and a 12 foot mark on the rope, and I say men go to 15, the women go to 12.
Yeah, but there we go again. Do we need to adjust the wall ball height based on height?
Brian, do you ever when you're
well,
boning, like you start narrating, like you start narrating your boning? And with the right hand, in a very dexterous move, she pulled the sheets down, letting in some much needed fresh air. As 15 minutes here under these heavy blankets has caused a lot of slippage and wetness. Like, do you ever like hear your inner monologue just start narrating your sex life?
Yeah, I usually just kind of put my phone quietly on record under the pillow nearby so that I can listen back to it later. Shut up! I'm recording this.
Okay, sorry. I didn't say any of that out loud, did I? Okay. I'm not attracted to Brian. Oh my God. Okay, well, that's just you. Okay, so this one, thoughts.
I didn't say she's more of a Caleb type of a woman.
Yeah, I like my men. I like my men. I'm gay man because my boyfriend is in the military. Wow,
See?
There you go.
See?
Tell me about this workout. Is this one really gonna hurt? Is this
I think that for the best athletes in quarterfinals, this workout's going to be fun, whatever it is. Likely chest bar pull-ups. I think thruster's a great call here, JR.
It's not going to scar them. That rower one's going to scar them, right?
I think that one is the one that people are going to be like, God damn it, this bullshit again. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and like we don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that, but it really helps. Like if you're someone that just made quarterfinals, maybe you barely made it, to have a good coach that wants to help you do the best you can on them based on the order at which you do them. Because like for me, if an athlete that's not someone that would say, hey, you're going to be fine doing them in, this order or this order, it's not that big of a deal. Outside of an injury, if you see a workout like row GHD and it's just going to be the most painful workout, you want to encourage them to do it probably not before they do 4 other tests, if possible, right? So if there's a workout that
because of the psychological implications, or physical? Physical.
Like if there's going to be something that's just going to wreck your body, like if your lower back tends to blow up easily and there's a workout with 135 deadlifts, if you have the choice, you probably don't want to do that one first. If it's test 5, you might want to wait until Saturday or Sunday to do that one. And I think some people see workouts and they think, oh, I should do this one first because I'm the best at this. Well, maybe, but what's it going to do the rest of your weekend? You have to think about things like that. Like what workouts are going to cause the most effect on all the rest of them? Are you able to like work around it? Because maybe this is the last year they give you the option to do them kind of the way you want.
I'm still holding out hope that they do the passwords and that they force you to do 2-2-1.
You do like that? I think I like
that would
that
be
too.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there's going to be a single strength test this year, but there have been the last 2 years, and JR knows this, and most of, if not all of the elite athletes just did that test first, even though it was listed as test 4. And everyone who's done CrossFit knows that, if you taper for 2 days and come into a gym and are trying to do a heavy lift, it's going to go better than if you've done 3 competitive workouts over 36 hours leading into that heavy lift.
I like it, and then they would be updating the leaderboard regularly. The
that's
leaderboard
going to happen anyway.
But it will be a shit show if we'll be comparing apples to oranges to cucumbers.
No, it won't, because after the first two, no matter when you did your 4 rep max front squat, it did not show up until the time that it was due. Even if you submitted it, it didn't show up on the leaderboard. They only reveal the first 2 tests, or you maybe don't even have the option to submit it that early.
Yeah. And so, Sevan, the scores will be due at 12 Pacific, and then at 1 Pacific, the leaderboard will go live. So,
Yeah,
like at 1 hour after, you'll be able to see day by day. But
Okay,
you won't
I must
able
not
to
be
tell,
understand.
like, so
I must
on
not
Friday,
be understand something. Like, let's say you do workout 1 and 2 on the first day, and Brian does 5 and 4, and I do 1 and 5, and then the leaderboard fills with our workouts. It's like, well, we can't compare ourselves.
No. No matter how many or which workouts you've done in the first 24 hours, you can only and must only submit workouts 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
But some of the top athletes, or some athletes, will just do all 5 workouts in one day.
Hey, so then are we doing shows on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? How could we not?
No, I don't think so.
How could we not?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm going to be.
What's really been cool about the last 2 years is that they've been very similar in some of the program design, but what's been really cool about them is the effect that the tests have on the leaderboard on each day. Because in the past couple of years, the first 2 workouts have been predominantly, I would say, like to the more gymnastics-based athlete. Lots of handstand push-ups, lots of pistols, lots of rope climbs, lots of GHDs, muscle-ups. And then workouts 3 and 4 have always included the heavy test, whether it's the 1 rep max, like the 4 rep max front squat, or the other total. So the leaderboard would flip really hard from day 1 to day 2, and then the cream would always be at the top. And then the last day has been that high power output, high execution, really fast workout, where some people just weren't strong enough to move the moderately heavy barbell fast, and others were, and the leaderboard would flip again. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that kind of parity day to day.
When's the leaderboard close? What time again? Every day?
Closes at 12 Pacific, and then it will populate at 1.
Every day? Or just the first day?
On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, you should be able to see an updated leaderboard.
Okay, guys, listen, guys.
If you're wanting to do shows, I mean, I'm already stretched really thin during this. I'm sure JR stretched even thinner than I am. It does make sense. I can definitely not do it in the middle of the day.
Friday, 1 p.m. We'll be here.
No
Don't
chance.
anyone worry.
I'm not gonna be
Don't. Saturday, 1 p.m.
Nope, no chance. I will not be here.
Definitely be here. Sunday, 1
You
p.m.
can invite other people, but it's not going to be me. Nope.
Sunday, 1 p.m. And what's a good time?
Sunday,
for you,
1 p.m. potentially.
Sunday, 1 p.m. It closes Monday at 1 p.m.
No, Sunday.
Sunday at 12 Pacific.
Oh my God, Sunday show is going to be incredible. Fucking incredible. What time works for you guys on
Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday.
I don't know, because I'm basically have made myself available to all of the quarterfinal athletes, and they have to be flexible around the class schedules. So if they want to come in at 8 o'clock on Friday night and do it, I will do it.
Well, I'm very flexible too, Brian. If you want to do it at 9:30 at night on Friday, I'll do it then too. Saturday's UFC, big fight, guys, big fight.
Saturday night during the UFC fight, I can do it.
Hey, Kamuro, you'll save me
I've been
$79.
waiting for this opportunity ever since you scheduled a show during the World Cup.
Listen,
you owe it to me.
Is John Young gay? I don't. How the fuck would we know?
We can ask him.
How would we know? Well, I mean, he's gonna say no. He has a wife, but
Let's
I'll
say,
ask him. We'll get him on the
wife.
show. John Young and Tyler Watkins are both gay. Oh no, sorry, I read that wrong. John Young and Tyler Watkins will be doing quarterfinals. Okay. Okay. So guys, we're gonna do shows. We'll be doing shows. Listen, Friday at 1 o'clock, it will be me and JR, and we will also have Adrian we will have Adrian Bosman on. And I promise you, if we get Adrian here, Brian will be here.
I will not.
All right. Well, Brian, so the JV team is doing quarters. Thank you.
On their score.
What'd you say?
That's everybody who lied in their scores.
Is going to be on that show. Yeah,
Yeah.
God, UFC is going to be crazy Saturday.
So I got Saturday at 10 p.m. show.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay, and Sunday at 1 p.m. show.
Pacific Standard Time.
When's the fight?
I think you know what? I don't. That's a great question. I have a feeling the fights might be a little weird. I don't know. Usually they're at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. UFC schedule. Yeah, it's
That's at 1
check
p.m.
that out, Saturday at 2 p.m.
Saturday at 2 p.m.
Yeah, it's crazy because it must be in Europe or something.
I guess it's Saturday night is open then.
Okay, so what? So Friday, what time works for you guys? Friday? Do you guys have a time? JR, what are you doing? JR, I know your wife's standing over you with the whip right now. Would you just look up to her and ask her, honey? Friday?
No, she's
in the bathroom. She put the whip down quick.
no, she's asleep for sure. She's definitely asleep. I will be doing quarterfinals. Like I'll be judging and doing all that, especially between the hours of 9 and 12 and 1 and 4, because they all have to do them not during class time. So that 1 to 4 window is huge, and then I'll be coaching in the afternoon and stuff.
So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday.
That would be that would be 8 Eastern. No, I could do a little bit earlier than that, but I can't do that late. I would say.
And Brian has to go later, and you have to go earlier. Oh, this is gonna get fun. Bill Grundler, you're up. Grundler, dust off that fucking mouth of yours.
TBD. I think we can have these conversations off the air.
All right. It's so much more fun on the air. JR has kids, Sevan. Like I give a fuck. Fuck you, Barry. Okay. We'll see you guys Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And
did you write down all our predictions for the workouts?
Not really. I pretended to. I had a pencil and paper.
He doesn't remember one.
But I was just scribbling around. And people in the comments will tell me. They'll be like, JR was spot on there. Incredible.
JR was so off on that one.
Look at Mike Halpin. Fine, Halpin. Good. Halpin, you're up. Dust it off, Halpin. You're up. We'll bring on a lot of guys. This is gonna be good. It's gonna be a great show.
Good. Focus on the cut line. No one cares about who's at the top.
Truly, you mean that though, right? Truly.
Yeah, this competition is about the cut line. It has nothing to do with the overall winners because there's nothing on the line for them.
But having people, especially like Brian and Halpin, that know the athletes, that know that's team. I mean, of course, people are going to ask, well, why are they doing it? Well, because things happen every day. Next week, one of your teammates may get injured and you want a fallback plan. But most people that you know are committed to teams, it'll be good to know who in the top 60 day to day will not stay there based on whatever reason.
Yeah, and like JR said, there's like a high likelihood that the first two combinations of tests will favor a specific style of athlete or a specific athlete, and they might be looking great, but there may be a couple heavy tests looming or a couple things that are holes that we're aware of for them. If there are legless rope climbs in the last workout, we might be looking at someone and say, yeah, they're probably going to do pretty well, but what's going to happen when they get to that legless rope climb?
Who are you calling?
Ghostbusters. And Brian just said legless rope climb. Patrick could help for the right amount. I heard Claire Bays is free. You guys are so helpful. Andrew Hiller. He's always on deck.
Dave, screening your calls.
You reach Matt. Leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Have a great day.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Souza, can you put on the calendar quarterfinal shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday? The times don't matter. Just make up times and we'll adjust them as it goes. You can start with 1 o'clock. I think that's what works for JR. 1 o'clock, he was saying. Thank you. See, there you go.
You have a tough time saying no, don't you?
Me?
You know I do.
Oh, I know, but I like that about you. It's good. You're a good dude. But now I know. Now I know. Hey, dude, you invested in that mic. Hey,
See how I did that?
Yeah, that was good. You invested in that mic, and you probably have like a what's that thing called that the Chinese people use with the beads? A hibiscus. What's that thing? Calibus, a smackus,
An abacus?
abacus. Thank you, hibiscus. He's got an abacus there, and he's always trying to figure out how he's leveraging the equipment he purchased for the show and how he's making his money back on it. Uses. Okay, this used to cost me $300 a show. Now it's $150 a show. Now it's $75 a show.
I just wrote it off. This in the laptop. Just write it off.
Awesome. Abacus, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I think this guy might be a dickhead, this draw your dagger dude. Are we fighting this guy?
He's really nice.
Oh, all right. My bad. Oh, Bruce Wayne. Sorry, guys. I'm keeping on. We have to go. Bruce, my mom says it's too much with the movie thumbnails, that it has to be like every fifth one, or just what shows that I do with Hiller, that you have to show some pictures where I actually look cool, or else then it's not funny if like every one I'm in a movie.
There's like 2 pictures of you and the entire internet.
Oh, okay. I'll send you some. I'll have my wife.
This is the one Brian sent count as one.
No. Oh, here we go. Souza, hi.
Yo.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
Don't listen to
Are
anything he
you
says.
still on right now?
Yeah, don't listen to him. Whatever he says right now, don't listen to him.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, JR's been drinking.
Oh, nice.
I want to schedule shows for quarterfinal shows for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
All right. What? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yeah, the time doesn't matter. I just want to get them on the schedule, and then I'll bug Caleb every 15 minutes about switching it.
All right.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday it is.
Yeah, because the scores come in at maybe make them after 1 p.m. The scores come in, right? 1 p.m., guys? Watch what?
On Monday, phone call with Sevan. Oh my God, one of these CrossFit shows open. I'm so sick of them. Tuesday, Sevan. More shows about CrossFit. Every day shows about CrossFit. Time doesn't matter. Get them on the schedule.
JR, when did you say that? When does the quarterfinals close? Sunday at 1 p.m.?
That's when the leaderboard populates, yeah.
And so that's what they have to be due by the fifth workout has to be due Sunday by noon.
Correct.
11:59. Okay. Yeah, JR would like to do them. 1 p.m. is a good starting point for JR.
Roger that.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Susan. We miss you.
Bye.
Bye. Is he stoned? There was a Brokeback Mountain thumbnail.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, great. Which guy was I? Was I the top or the bottom guy?
Sevan, did you get the next disc golf show on the schedule for Monday night? You forgot to tell Souza that.
Oh, shit. It's
going to be a very busy weekend for you.
Shit. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Is that really? I wonder who our guest is Monday. And then we'll close the show. Hey.
Yes, hello.
Sorry, Monday the 20th. We're blessed with another. Oh fuck. We're blessed with another. Why do I always look like the dude who just? Why do I always look like the goober? Have you seen the one with me and Brian? I look horrible. Caleb's fucking me right now on the show so hard. Monday the 20th. Can you schedule a Frisbee show? Also, it's our third one. It's in Austin.
Those Frisbee shows. All right, Monday the 20th. What time? 6 p.m. again?
Yes. Is that good, Brian? 6 p.m.?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Brian, thank you so much for being vulnerable today.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
That was awkward. Bye.
Okay. It's your face. I know. Unfortunately, you're right. It is my face. I love it I love that Sevan pays Brian in Frisbee shows. Oh wow!
Did you get the final trolling the leaderboard episode for next Tuesday night? Did you get that in the schedule?
Is that really what it would be?
That was the plan. I mean, we could do it on Sunday in theory, but there's always the chance that things change a little bit over those couple of days.
That's Tuesday the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
I better text him that. This is too much information to give him. Oh, and the 21st does that work for you, JR?
It's the same time as this show, not just next week.
Yeah, leader.
21st is Tuesday. Yeah, that's fine.
The face of a goober. I know. It's a pretty gooberish face. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Joshua Bridges will be here. Some comments are so bad I can't even read them out loud.